For argument next in number 88-155, Texas versus Gregory Lee Johnson. Ms. Drew, you may proceed whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Mr. Chief Justice, and may it please the Court, the issue before this Court is whether the public burning of an American flag, which occurred as part of a demonstration with political overtones, is entitled to First Amendment protection. The flag burning in this case occurred during the 1984 Republican National Convention in Dallas, Texas. The flag was burned in front of Dallas City Hall at the culmination of a demonstration march through downtown Dallas, in the midst of a crowd of demonstrators and onlookers. The flag burner, who is identified as Mr. Johnson, was convicted under a Texas statute which prohibits desecration of the national flag. His punishment was assessed at 1 year in the county jail plus a $2,000 fine. For purposes of this argument today, and with the Court's indulgence, the state will assume the symbolic speech standard and proceed directly to the question of Texas's compelling interest in regulating this type of conduct. Throughout the course of the appellate history in this case, Texas has advanced two compelling state interests. One is the preservation of the flag as a symbol of nationhood and national unity. The second is the preservation of a breach of the peace. I would like to address first the nationhood interest. We believe that the preservation of the flag as a symbol of nationhood and national unity is a compelling and valid state interest. We feel very certain that Congress has the power to both adopt a national symbol and to take steps to prevent the destruction of that symbol, to protect the symbol.
Why did the defendant's actions here destroy the symbol? His actions would have been useless unless the flag was a very good symbol for what he intended to show contempt for. His action does not make it any less a symbol.
Your Honor, we believe that if a symbol over a period of time is ignored or abused, that it can in fact lose its symbolic effect.
I think not at all. I think when somebody does that to the flag becomes even more a symbol of the country. I mean, it seems to me you're running quite a different argument. Not that he's destroying its symbolic character, but that he is showing disrespect for it, that you not just want a symbol, but you want a venerated symbol. And you don't make that argument because then you're getting into a sort of content preference. But I don't see how you can argue that he's making it any less of a symbol than it was.
Your Honor, I'm forced to disagree with you because I believe that every desecration of a flag carried out in the manner that he did here, and certainly I don't think there can be any question that Mr. Johnson is a hardcore violator of this statute. If his actions in this case, under the facts of this case, do not constitute flag desecration, then I really am not quite certain what would constitute flag desecration.
They desecrate the flag, indeed, but do they destroy the symbol? Do they make it any less symbolic of the country? That's the argument I thought you were running, that we have a right to have a national symbol. And if you let the people desecrate the flag, we won't have a national symbol. I don't see how that follows. We may not have a respected national symbol, but that's a different argument. Now, if you want to run that argument that we have the right to insist upon respect for the flag, that's a different argument.
Texas is not suggesting that we can insist on respect. We are suggesting that we have the right to preserve the physical integrity of the flag so that it may serve as a symbol, because its symbolic effect is diluted by certain flagrant public acts of flag desecration. To the extent that we are asking for any respect for the flag, we are asking for respect for its physical integrity. Certainly we do not demand that any individual view it with any discernible emotion whatsoever, only that its physical integrity be respected. Some people may give it great respect, others may not. That's not what we're regulating here. We are simply trying to preserve the flag as a symbol for all people.
You begin by saying that it's a symbol and by acknowledging, at least in this part of your argument, that what the defendant did was speech. Is that correct?
We are assuming that standard for
all right, at this
today.
point. What is the juridical category you're asking us to adopt in order to say we can punish this kind of speech? Is it just an exception for flags? There's just a flag exception to the First Amendment?
To a certain extent, we have made that argument in our brief. With respect to the symbolic speech standard, we believe that there are compelling state interests that will, in a balancing posture, override this individual's symbolic speech rights. And that preserving the flag as a symbol, because it is such a national property, is one of those.
What are the others?
The other state interest advanced, Your Honor, is a prevention of a breach of the peace.
Texas prohibit the burning of copies of the Constitution?
Not to my knowledge, Your Honor.
There wouldn't be the same interest in the symbolism of that.
No, Your Honor, it would not be the same interest, I don't believe.
Why is that? I was going to ask about the state flower. You're not going to...
Flower.
There is legislation, Your Honor, which does establish the bluebonnet as the state flower, but does not seek to protect it.
Well, how do you pick out what to protect? I mean, if I had to pick between the Constitution and the flag, I might well go with the Constitution. I don't know.
Your Honor, I think Texas in this area has made a judgment that certain items are entitled to more protection.
I understand that, but we up to now have never allowed such an item to be declared a national symbol and to be usable symbolically only in one direction, which is essentially what you're arguing. You can honor it all you like, but you can't dishonor it as a sign of disrespect for the country.
No, Your Honor, we're not arguing that at all.
Oh.
Not at all. We are in no way arguing that one cannot dishonor the flag or that one cannot demonstrate disrespect for the flag. Individuals have that right. What we are arguing is that you may not publicly desecrate a flag regardless of the motivation for your action.
Well, one hardly desecrates it in order to honor it. I mean, you only desecrate it in order to show your disagreement with what it stands for. Isn't that right? So it is sort of a one-way statute.
It does not go to the motive of the actor. If a vandal takes the flag in front of Dallas City Hall, 100 people, middle of the afternoon, soaks it with lighter fluid, sets it on fire, they are still liable under this statute. They have desecrated the flag, but they have no intent to dishonor the country. They have no intent to dishonor the flag. They have no intent to do anything except, oh, I'm just an act of a vandal. I think I'll do this today.
Well, actually, Ms. Drew, I thought this statute only applied if the desecration were done in a way that the actor knows will offend one or more other people likely to discover it. There is that little added requirement, is there not? Well, I thought the court had held that it's firmly settled under the Constitution that the public expression of ideas may not be prohibited merely because the ideas are themselves offensive to some of their hearers.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Uh-huh. And this statute seems to try to achieve exactly that.
I don't believe that it does, Your Honor, because I believe that the pivotal point is, in a way, how is the conduct effectuated? How is it done? Not what an individual may be trying to say, not how onlookers perceive the action, not how the crowd reacts, but how is it done? If you take your flag into your basement in the dead of night, soak it with lighter fluid, and ignite it, you probably have not violated this statute, because the Texas statute is restricted to certain limited forms of flag desecration.
You suppose Patrick Henry and any of the founding fathers ever showed disrespect to the Union Jack?
Quite possibly, Your Honor.
You think they had in mind then in drafting the First Amendment that it should be a prosecutable offense?
Of course, Your Honor, one has no way of knowing it. Would be or not.
I think your response is that they were willing to go to jail, just as they were when they signed the Declaration.
They were hoping they wouldn't get caught.
Yes, Your Honor, I believe the classic line is, we hang together or separately.
That's right.